Okay, let's dive in. We are standing right on the edge of a massive, and I mean massive, shift in how businesses get things done. And it's all being powered by a totally new way of thinking about AI. This isn't just about getting some faster tools. We're talking about a complete reimagining of work itself.
But that brings up a really interesting puzzle, right? With all the incredible hype around generative AI, why aren't most companies seeing these huge revolutionary financial gains? You and I, we've all heard the promises, but the reality for a lot of businesses just hasn't matched up. So what's the disconnect here?
Well, that brings us to what a lot of people are starting to call the Gen AI paradox. And it's exactly that. This weird gap between how many companies are adopting AI tools and the, well, lack of a real game-changing impact on the bottom line. It's a head-scratcher. So here's the thing. The problem is that most AI is being used at a pretty surface level. Think of things like chatbots or those AI co-pilots that help you write emails. They're helpful, for sure. Nobody's denying that. But they aren't fundamentally changing the core DNA of the business. The impact gets spread so thin, it's diffuse, which basically means it's so scattered that it's almost impossible to point to it and say, there, that's the return on our investment.
And this really breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got what's called horizontal AI. That's the broad, general-purpose stuff we see everywhere. But the real magic, the truly transformative power, that comes from vertical AI. And that's all about going deep. It's about embedding AI into the most critical workflows to completely reinvent, from the ground up, how that work actually gets done. To really get your head around just how big this shift to vertical AI is, we kind of have to zoom out and look at the history of work. This isn't just another tech upgrade, like a new piece of software. No, this is the very beginning of a whole new era.
And listen, that is not an exaggeration. According to McKinsey, what we're looking at here is a transformation on the same scale as the Industrial Revolution or the invention of the internet. It's a fundamental change in the entire paradigm of how we organize ourselves to get stuff done. And this table just lays it out so clearly. Back in the industrial era, right, you had these rigid hierarchies and repetitive jobs. Then the digital era brought us more flexible, cross-functional teams. But now look at the AI era. We're talking about flat teams of humans and AI agents working side by side. Our roles are changing too, from just being a specialist in one thing to becoming M-shaped learners, people who have deep expertise in multiple areas. Technology is no longer just a tool we use, it's becoming a partner we actually collaborate with.
So what do we actually call this new model that's built for this AI era? Well, it has a name, the Agentic organization. Okay, so the core idea here is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly profound. An agentic organization is a workplace where humans and autonomous AI agents, and that means both software agents and physical robots, are literally on the same team. They don't just help each other out, they actually share responsibilities and execute really complex tasks together. Now, the really crucial thing to understand is that these aren't just simple chatbots. We're talking about agentic AI. It can plan, it can remember context from past interactions, and it can act on its own to achieve goals. And what that does is it frees up the humans, us, to focus on what we really do best: high-level strategy, making those tough judgment calls, and creative problem solving. But to make it work, you have to redesign everything from scratch, and it's all supported by this new kind of IT backbone called the Agentic AI Mesh, which lets all these different agents talk to each other and work together safely.
So, all of that sounds fantastic in theory, right? But how does this agentic model actually create real, tangible value for a business? Let's get into the specifics.
You really get 4 huge advantages here. First up, speed. Just imagine a bunch of agents running different parts of a complex process all at the same time, in parallel. It just slashes the time it takes to get things done. Next, you get real-time adaptation. These agents can dynamically adjust to surprises, like a sudden delay in a supply chain. Then there's personalization at a scale we've never seen before. Agents can tailor services or actions to millions of individuals at once. And finally, you get this incredible resilience because the agents are constantly monitoring for failures and can proactively fix problems, sometimes before a human even knows anything was wrong. And believe me, this isn't science fiction. It's already happening. You've got banks where AI agents are pulling data from dozens of different systems to draft complex credit risk reports in just minutes. Then a human expert comes in to review and finalize it. Or in logistics, you have agents predicting shipment delays, automatically rerouting inventory, and even negotiating with other agents in the system to keep the whole chain moving smoothly. Okay, So the potential is obviously huge. Which brings us to the big question. How does a company actually pull off this kind of monumental transition? Because let me tell you, it doesn't just happen by accident.
There's a very strategic roadmap here. You have to start by picking a focus. Don't try to do everything at once. Choose a few high-impact areas where you can really prove the value. Then, you have to redesign the workflows from the ground up. You can't just plug these powerful new agents into your old, clunky processes. But honestly, the most critical piece of this whole puzzle, leadership has to own it. This is not an IT project that you can delegate. This is a CEO-level transformation. Without that vision from the very top, driving the new skills and culture, the change just isn't going to stick. That's why launching a few visible lighthouse projects is so important. It shows everyone what's possible and builds that crucial momentum.
But of course, a journey like this isn't all smooth sailing. There are some serious risks you have to watch out for. I mean, think about it. Autonomous agents running wild without proper oversight could cause absolute chaos. Imagine an agent making thousands of bad decisions every minute. You also have to build rock-solid governance to create trust in the system. And you can't ignore the human element. Cultural resistance from people who are understandably nervous about these changes is a real thing. It's complex, it's expensive, and you have to manage it all very, very carefully.
So, let's bring this all home. Let's make it personal. What does this massive shift actually mean for our jobs, for our careers, and for the skills we're all going to need to thrive in his future? Our work is fundamentally changing. We're moving away from doing those routine, repetitive tasks that, frankly, AI is just better at. Instead, our real value is going to come from our ability to focus on strategy, on creativity, and on making those nuanced judgment calls. We're shifting from being the manual doers to becoming the supervisors of these autonomous systems. We're the ones who will handle the complex, messy exceptions where human wisdom is absolutely irreplaceable. And really, this quote says it all. The best way to think about this is that AI is no longer a tool that you just pick up and put down. It's becoming a new kind of coworker. It's a teammate that can act on its own within clear boundaries you set to help the entire team achieve its goals way more effectively than ever before.
So I want to leave you with this one question to really think about. The question isn't, is AI coming for my job? The real question is, how can I get my job, my skills, and my entire mindset ready to collaborate with an AI coworker? Because that future, it's arriving a whole lot faster than any of us think.